Simple black Red Wing boots that I think are worth going over in more detail. Today we have the 2955, aka the Blacksmiths, in Spitfire Leather. I've been wearing them for about 6 months now, so I got a pretty good feeling for them. Red Wing has over 40 options just in the 6-inch boot category, so there's a lot to choose from. Today we're just going to focus on the black 6-inch boots. The far left shows the lightest and most formal of them, the Beckman, with a smooth leather finish. The two in the middle are the Blacksmiths, which we're talking about today, and the rugged Iron Rangers on the right. In photos, the 2955s just look like any other black boot, but the big difference is that Spitfire leather. You can see that Red Wing has their oil tan leather, rough out leather, and smooth finish explained a little bit on their website. But there's very little information floating around about the Spitfire leather, which is described as a waxed suede. Now, typically suede is the underside of a finished leather, but suede gets a bad reputation being seen on a lot of cheap micro suedes like this. I can assure you that is not the case with the Spitfire leather. The biggest aha moment for me was when I saw the inside of these boots and saw that perfectly finished Red Wing leather. It's just the opposite of a typical boot leather construction. Here we have the Iron Rangers that have that rough suede on the inside, and then the standard oil leather finished on the outside. Now it's a bit oversimplifying it, but with the Spitfire leather they flip that out and put the smooth on the inside. Now this is really smooth leather, almost to the level of the Beckmans. Then they press wax into the outside suede of that leather, and that gives it a much more durable, kind of shiny finish that really glows a nice warm satin. It's not matte, it's not glossy, but you really need to get up close to understand what it looks like. It looks like it has a rough tar sticky texture to it, but the leather is really supple, it moves really well. I haven't really had to condition it at all. And it builds up a really nice wear to it as the wax wears away in some spots. You can see they have the flat waxed laces along with the brass eyelets and hardware. Those speed hooks make the boots really easy to take on and off, which I like because I've been wearing these boots more than any other shoe that I've owned. If you haven't caught on yet, I really like this Spitfire leather. And to give you a better comparison, I'm bringing in a Belstaff motorcycle jacket. That's also a wax, but it's a canvas. It has a similar kind of shine to it, the way it catches light, and also has almost identical brass hardware. Totally different end of the spectrum is this smooth watch band. You can see it's much smoother, doesn't have that grain and crackle. And while we're down here, let's just look at this nice Red Wing triple stitch. The top edge of the boot is a little bit lighter, has a rolled edge to it, not like the raw edge of the Iron Rangers, and you can see it does have that that tongue that goes all the way up to just below the third eyelet. The full leather footbed has that little Red Wing stamped right when you look down at it and goes all the way to your toes. The bright brown leather of the Goodyear Welt really pops off of the black leather and sole. You can see that detail that goes into it, and to be honest, once you wear boots that have Goodyear Welt on it, every other boot or just shoe just kind of seems like it's glued together. They have the V-brim soles with nice little mini lugs on them, and compared to the Iron Rangers on the right, which are still great soles, they have tons of grip. Honestly, walking around in the snowy weather here in the Midwest and around rocks, they just get way too slippery on the Iron Rangers. The toe shapes of the Iron Rangers compared to the Blacksmiths look pretty similar, but just showing them here so you can see the different cap and non-cap construction, and flat laces versus the round laces. You can see that the oil tan leather of the Iron Rangers takes some beatings, they're scratching it up, but I work in these boots anyways, so it's not going to ruin them. Eventually the oils kind of seep together, and that's how the boots break in. Using a little mink oil to try to even that out, but eventually it will just settle in and add that patina to the boot. The Spitfire leather, on the other hand, wears a little bit differently. You can scratch it and scuff it. I've been working in a wood shop a little bit with these. You can get a lot of sawdust on them, and they actually wear really well. You can see even just with a little bit of buffing to them, helps out a little bit, but I've actually used a big horsehair brush to even the wax out the most, and it actually buffs them out if you want a little bit more shine. There's redressing supplies for a lot of the different Red Wing finishes, but I wasn't able to find anything for the Spitfire. I'm assuming when the time comes I'll use some sort of beeswax to press in and address any areas that have lost any wax, heat that up, rub it in, and that should be able to refinish that leather. One of the most important details to know about Red Wing boots is that their sizing is a little bit non-standard, I guess you could say. I have very narrow feet, so this is amplified even more, but my US sizing is 10.5, and I size down to a full 9 in Red Wing boots. A bit of a snug fit at first is fine because the cork midsoles and leather uppers will break in to fit your foot amazingly. Like I said, I've been wearing these almost every day for the past 6 months, and I think I'm going to get another pair in the copper leather, just to give me a little bit of variety. Hopefully this review gave you a few details that you weren't able to find anywhere else. If you have any other questions, just let me know in the comment section below.